What's going on, everyone? It's Azor Hype here. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and there's some really big news this weekend about Game of Thrones. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of catching up to do. Obviously, there hasn't been as many videos on the channel, but today we're going to get together, we're going to get hype, and we're going to have a blast. So let's see who's in the live chat. I know there's a few awesome people in the live chat that always come early. And like I said, we're gonna really get into it today. We have Kate M, who's in the live chat, John Haymaker, Mama Ogre, the prince that wasn't promised, J.R. Rowley, Maya Online. Actually, I'm staying with Maya in Florida right now. So hype and love to Maya, everyone. If you can spam some fire and heart emojis in the chat, that would be awesome. Graphics by Kathy Michael Smith, who's in Australia. I believe Maura Lee made a $50 donation pre-stream, which is insane. So thank you so much for that, Maura Lee. Also Catherine Bassett from UK made a donation, $5 UK donation. She said she couldn't be here this evening, so thank you very much for that. And as well, everyone, I know there's going to be more of you. Gemma, not feeling so well today, so we're going to push the podcast to a little bit earlier next week. I don't know if it's going to be on Friday or Saturday because I will be at DragonCon doing some crazy things. So Citadel of Hype podcast, I know we were supposed to do it this weekend, but it will be coming next week at some point, probably in the middle of the week, and I will notify everyone. Let's see. We got some more people in the chat. Oracle of Raylor, what's up? What's going on with you, Ran? Tyrion Landstark, Sydney, and many others. So there's a few people in chat, and I'm sure there's going to be some more joining. I know it's a Sunday. People like to relax, but we have something really big to talk about today, and it is that Game of Thrones Season 8 may be delayed until the summer of 2019. So we're going to go into a couple of different articles. We're going to talk basically about the article from the Game of Thrones production. Let me see. I just want to make sure I'm getting this correctly. Game of Thrones production designer says Season 8 nearly killed me. So that's pretty crazy. And Watchers on the Wall, I believe it was Luca. I'm just going to scroll up here that wrote the article. Yeah, Luca, an awesome friend of the channel's amazing writer and content creator, said has some amazing information for us. So do we want to dive into the article right away, or do we want to wait a little bit? Or do we want to kind of just get into it and kind of pull the Band-Aid off and talk about it? So I'll let all of you people decide in chat. Also, I'm not sure if Dan Carroll, you're watching, you said you might pop into the live stream. Dan Carroll is an awesome guy. He's the media relations person for DragonCon. I wanted to shout out Dan. We're really excited to hang out and cover DragonCon. So we're actually going to talk about, by the way, the DragonCon schedule. There's actually quite a few Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones panels that'll be going down. So really excited for that, and going to talk a little bit about some of the content we'll be getting at DragonCon for you. All right, we're gonna dive right into it. Let's dive right into the article. So here we go. I'm gonna screen cap this for you, everyone. You won't be seeing my lovely face and hair on the stream for the next little bit, but I'm going to screen cap so we can all read the article together, and you can see what I'm reading is legit. All right, so here we go. Season 8 may not air until summer 2019, and prequel pilot production date revealed. And it was posted, I believe, yesterday by Luca. So exactly 1 month ago, HBO's programming president, Casey Bloys, claimed the last season of Game of Thrones would premiere in the first half of 2019. Many of us hoped that this would mean a return to a premiere date in April, yet if visual effects supervisor Joe Bauer is to be believed, many of us were wrong. So this is absolutely huge. In a conversation with Huffington Post about the show's 22 Emmy nominations in 2018, Bauer segues into a much more revealing direction, claiming that in 2 years, they'll be eligible for Season 8 VFX work, which they have just begun working on. If Bauer is correct and the 8th season won't be eligible at the Emmys until 2020, that means most of the season won't have aired until after the 2019 deadline of May 31st. Apparently, Bauer can't swear this is the case, as so much of it is coming down to timing and all that stuff. The situation changes every week, but he can't confirm his VFX team have nothing but Game of Thrones scheduled until May. So, in his words, we're going to be toiling away on season 8 until May of 2019. So, it's 8 or 9 months away. So, this is absolutely insane, everyone. 8 or 9 months of VFX work. That's like 2 or 3 more months than they are usually allotted for working on the season, which means we're going to be getting a lot of Ice Dragon, a lot of White Walkers. We're going to be getting, however big Drogon's going to be, a lot of that. I'm sure the battles are going to be absolutely insane. Apparently, I mean, the Battle of Winterfell alone, which is rumored to be in episode 3 of season 8, is 55 days of night shooting, which means that would dwarf Battle of the Bastards. I think Battle of the Bastards are like 25 to 27 days. That's crazy. And then the Battle for King's Landing took like 40 days as well. So very, very exciting stuff. We're going to read the rest of the article here. It says, in past years, VFX work was still being finished up on the season, had already started airing, only days to spare. So season 8 could yet premiere sometime in May or early June. And Jadwood Boys' claim that the show would only air during the first half of next year. However, if you were hoping for March or April or February, that's not happening, anyone. So we're not getting it earlier in the year. So thankfully, Bauer does say with the spoonful of sugar, Goldman's spin-off pilot, The Long Night, for Game of Thrones, the next show that we're getting into Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire on HBO. The prequel is starting to shoot in February. At least the pilot is, and he tells Huffington Post, and may not feel like season 8 is getting any closer, but we should have casting and production news from the prequel. So that's really awesome and amazing, people. I mean, we definitely want to know more about the prequels. I mean, holy crap, right? I mean, get casting news, information about the characters, the story, and all that. And we know that, season 8 might be delayed a little bit longer, but maybe the wait between season 8 and the prequel won't be as bad as we think. And I, for one, I want to kind of just get this out there for everyone that is listening. I think that they should take as much time as possible. If it's going to be another couple extra months, and that means that the VFX work is going to be like otherworldly, and we're going to have an absolutely crazy season 8, then that to me is significant, because it means that they want to finish the story and make sure it's to the level that we all expect. So while it does kind of seem like bad news, guys, we got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. And I think that, honestly, we all knew that it was going to, it's going to be a long wait regardless. If it was in April in that time period anyways, another couple of months to make sure that it's going to be absolute gasoline is I think, a really good thing. So we got another donation in chat. John St. Baptiste, choo-choo, get the Kyle Khan train rolling all night long. I really, really appreciate that, my friend. Need all the help we can get. There's some other things that are going to be going down next week. Certainly, if you do want to support the channel, you can support the channel on Patreon. All the links to all that. If you want, donate through the super chat, very, very much appreciated. It definitely helps out for DragonCon, WorldCon, and all the other cons that we attend. So we're gonna go into the chat for a little bit before we get to the other article. The other article is a little bit more personal about the production designer, and then what I thought was we can kind of have a little bit of a discussion with chat right now, kind of air our thoughts, kind of have a little chat and kind of see where we're at with things, see how people feel about this news. So I really appreciate that, my man, John St. Baptiste, one of the members of the Secret Council on Patreon. So Tarnia says, I'm interested in the prequel, but I want to see season 8 before I think ahead. So you're kind of like, you want it to be in April. I totally get that. Let's see if we have some other comments up here. Prequel or sidequel? Robar, yeah, I totally get that. Well, the positive is that there shouldn't be much time between season 8 and TWOW. That's another thing that I wanted to bring up, Scott, actually, is that could TWOW, actually, The Winds of Winter, come out before Game of Thrones season 8? And I'm not saying that this is all coinciding together, that there's some sort of deal behind the scenes or something, but I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, this does give George a bigger window, and maybe they manipulate their timeline to kind of maximize when they're going to release The Winds of Winter. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think that The Winds of Winter is probably going to be released like 1 or 2 days right after Game of Thrones season 8. But this news could maybe change the timeline. Like maybe George was like, yeah, I'm going to release it like, May 1st or something, like, Thrones ends April 28th or so, whatever, whenever that last Sunday is. And then maybe the timeline has changed. So I think there is a bigger possibility that The Winds of Winter does come out before Game of Thrones season 8. But I'm not holding my breath on that. So, but certainly it is a possibility, and I just don't know if George wants to release it right after the show. If that's kind of the plan that he's had or whatever. I'm sure they have a marketing plan in place where they're going to try to maximize the amount of exposure, first of all, to the book, because George wants people to obviously read his books, but also make a ton of cash. Like, let's be honest, making money is important to be staying alive and paying the bills and whatnot. So I think overall it's a positive thing. I don't want to wait super long. I mean, I want Thrones right now, like we all do. But for them to be doing it properly, to be paying this much attention to the final season of the Game of Thrones is I think, a really positive thing. Kate says, I think George R. R. Martin is waiting until the show is done. Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Andy says, I would love for the books first, but I think they will wait until the show is finished. Yeah, I think so too. John Sampertese says, there is a deal. The books are written. It is known. Wow, John, I don't know about that, man. I just, the vibe that I got from George last week was, I don't think that's the case. I mean, but, George is really, really good at, bluffing and trolling and whatnot. So who knows? Robar, Warrior, Kyle of Azor Hype, Gemma Secrets, Robert Indie Geek, LML, Ideas, Vice, and Fire Gray Era. They are my TV. Yeah, you know what's crazy is I have had some people come out and reach out to me saying, I don't even watch TV, but I watch YouTube, and you guys are my thing. And then I get the HBO subscription for however long Thrones is on, and then you guys are kind of like my TV. So I really, really appreciate that. That's awesome. And YouTube kind of is this thing that is going to be, I mean, I think at some point in our lifetime, all TV will be digital. I don't know if the networks will survive. I mean, just with how things are, how we consume things, I certainly could see television being completely online at some point. Rayanne says, my son is here visiting. Awesome, Rayanne. Maybe he'll drop a dunk and egg in between. I mean, we're getting Fire and Blood, right? So that's a thing that we're going to be covering. We can't forget about that. Kyle, we are talking about how strong you guys are getting. I really appreciate that comment. Yeah, I mean, there's some absolutely huge stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit about DragonCon after the next article. Some of the stuff that I'm gonna be covering for you guys at DragonCon. As most of you know, I'm launching my second Marvel channel like right before DragonCon next week. So, but don't worry, we are gonna have lots of Throne stuff for you. I'm really hoping that we get Alfie Allen, get an interview with Alfie Allen and Pilu, but we are gonna be filming some panels and stuff like that for you guys. Fire and Blood. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Let's get some more thoughts, though. I kind of let's do a little bit of a poll in chat. If you think this is positive, like this is a good thing, that they are taking their time to make sure that Game of Thrones season 8 is going to be completed in full in the way that we expect, put a heart emoji and a fire emoji in chat. If you're upset about this news and you don't want to wait any longer, and you're like, damn, this sucks, put a negative smiley face. We're not usually negative on this negative here on the channel, but I kind of want to see all 70 of you that are watching right now. Please smash that like button. But I want to see how you feel about this news right now. So let's do a little poll in chat. Scott McCloy, Maura Lee, or Paige Robert. Yeah, welcome, Paige. I don't think I've seen you here in the live chat before. If you're new, welcome. CC, Legal Jedi, Peter Griffin. Okay. I trust the showrunners, Jimmy. Death Shadow's crying. Damn, I'm sorry, Death Shadow. John Haymaker's giving the side eye. That wasn't a requested emoji, John. Hope it's not a Michael Bay movie. Yeah, I'm in agreement. John Haymaker's like, eh. But the majority of viewers are seemingly pretty good about it. Jormungand says, I think the first book will be released either last quarter of 2019, the first quarter of 2020. I actually think it's going to be right after this. We're getting TWOW in 2019. I'm convinced. It's too long to wait, says Death Shadow. Sunny McCloud says, I'm into whatever they get at me when they are done. Oh, you miss lives often? Thanks, Paige. Thanks for tuning in, though. Amanda's sick of waiting. Some of you are hyped and sad at the same time. I had a feeling that that might be a thing. Robar says positive. They could really salt up the core fans, the ones that champion the brand, not just the bandwagon. Yeah, Robar, great point. We got Chrissy of Oldstone in the chat, and J.R. Rowley. Thank you so much for retweeting the Patreon links and the GoFundMe. Really, really appreciate that. Bernie the Burnt says, I think TWOW is close to done. Jerem is in a great mood lately. Yeah, I got to meet George R. R. Martin like 5 times last week. And just his energy seemed really, really positive. I'm sure that part of the reason why he felt like that was because he was at a convention and you get to meet all your friends, your closest friends, and you're getting to go to dinners and parties and stuff like that. And that's really exciting. I mean, that changes your mood, knowing that you're going to be having the maximum amount of fun you can in somewhere where you don't live. For the most part, I mean, George does live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or in New Mexico, and he was in California. So I think the beautiful rays of sunshine from San Jose were shining down on all of us, and that was a positive thing. So, but just generally, the vibe that I got, and I spoke with this with Ashea and Aziz and George and LML, the general feeling was very positive. So yeah. Waiting for the show is fine with me, says Carol Funk. TWOW is all I need. I can see myself telling grandbabies about this one, CC. Hell yeah. Ade, I'll be happy when George R. R. Martin finishes his book with his creative process. I'm in total agreement with that, JR. Who the hell cares about Season 8? I'm more concerned about TWOW. Keshik, I'm very concerned about Season 8. I want it all. I want Thrones everything. Tanya, as long as there's no leaks between now and then, I hate leaks. I agree. All the leaks so far have been shit. Hey, Child of Ice and Fire, nice to see you. Like what you said, I want HBO to have as much time as possible to make Season 8 great. Yeah, I'm totally on that bandwagon. So I think that we should get into the second article, and this one is really interesting. This one's a little bit more personal, and we're gonna screen cap this one. Let me share this with everyone. We're gonna go over this one. This one's a little bit of a different vibe, and I think it gives a perspective into how much work they're putting into Game of Thrones Season 8. So, anybody that kind of has a negative feeling about it, maybe they'll change their minds when they learn how much effort is going into everything. So let's do this. And we're going to go to this article. BGR.com by Andy Meek. Follow him on Twitter. You see that right there. It says, Game of Thrones production designer says Season 8 nearly killed me. With the production designer for Game of Thrones already saying she can't wait for the final season landmark series when it returns to HBO next year, that must surely tell you something about how incredible it's going to look. Now that not that it wasn't a massive fan, high-pressure undertaking for Deborah Riley, who's an Emmy contender for Outstanding Production Design as part of the 70th Annual Emmy Awards coming up in September. Riley has been with the epic fantasy series since Season 4, has been a major force designing Dragonstone, the Pyramids of Marine, and among other things. So Deborah is a huge part of the production design team for Thrones, and those are definitely some of the things that I love looking at the most in the show. Marine and Dragonstone, beautiful. Still in an interview with Deadline, Riley is as candid as she can be, but the creative commitment and the sheer work required to make the final season all it could be. And this quote alone has us seriously anticipating what's to come. And here it is. The final season nearly killed me, she told the news outlet. I realized at a certain point that all of the work in previous seasons was just a warm-up for Season 8. By the end, I had nothing left to give and finished knowing that I had done everything I could. Season 8 does not pull any punches and is raw and honest and important. So it says she does go on to talk about how this season meant a lot of massive builds that have to happen, many of which had to be underway at less at the same time. There were also a lot less characters, which also meant less alternatives to shoot on schedule. So in a lot of ways, in other words, to buy time to finish sets. It was a reality that would really intensify in Season 7 that got eclipsed by Season 8. So it looks like Season 8 is going to be absolutely batshit crazy. And this is some more. Riley talks about a little bit more about her experience on the throne set. The homecoming of Daenerys Targaryen into her ancestral home of Dragonstone was something that the showrunners Dan and Dave gave specific instructions about. with reference to the Dragonstone audience chamber, the power of Totalian architecture, as well as the device of forced perspective to help strengthen the focus to the throne, were statements they were very interested in making. Also, Euroship silence, that's another thing. But basically, yeah, the final season is going to be incredibly satisfying for people, she said, heartbreaking, and people will have their minds blown when they watch the final one. So I'm assuming that's the final episode. So what does everyone think about that? I mean, we don't often hear about the people that work on the show, their experiences, and what they have to go with in their schedule. I think that this is kind of very revealing that Game of Thrones season 8 is going to be absolutely batshit crazy. What do we think about that? I mean, they just keep on upping the expectation. I mean, when these articles come out, my expectations keep on getting higher and higher, obviously. I mean, you guys know I'm Lord Hype. But for all of you, what does it mean? I mean, I'm going to be super excited regardless. I want to know about all of you. Can't wait. I have a huge feeling that the show ending will be obscenely different than the books. I'm actually going to be disagreeing with you on that one, Robar. George talked about a lot of the things that are in the show that people complain about. He told Dan and Dave to do them. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm happy with all of the storylines. It's not a perfect show, but it's the best show. I will say that. There's no doubt about that. No punches will be held back. 6 small movies, yeah. And I mean, the thing that we have to talk about too is like we've interviewed Paula Fairfield twice, and she's talked about like how season 7 was like. I mean, she works on the dragons and Viserion and all that. She said that season 8 is absolutely batshit. So, what I will do is I'm going to link the article for anyone that wants to read it here in the chat for you guys and gals. Because I know some of you said you guys are just coming in right now. I'll pop in both articles. So there's the BGR article with the set designer, and then here's the Watchers on the Wall article. Do you think they will add episodes? I do not think they will do that. A lot more special effects challenges. Yeah, Maria K. That's certainly a thing. I mean, they have to execute a certain number of things that probably haven't been done in the show before. The original David Adams, what's up? Travis Michael. We're gonna do a couple more shout outs here. Seth Nico. I did put the article in the chat for you. Let's see some more people. So most of you are really excited. I mean, I think it's an indication that, you know, obviously for the people that are saying that the books are better, I totally get that. I've read the books. I love the books so much, everyone. I've listened to the audiobooks 3 times over. I've read the books a couple times over. And I totally get that sentiment. But at the same time, we kind of got like the best books and the best show. So, and, you know, George R. R. Martin obviously sets the stand. Like, these books are so incredibly complex and amazing. Like, the story is just so fantastic. The show, you can't compete with that 100%. It's a totally different medium. So they have to find ways visually to make us experience this story. And I think that, you know, all the news certainly that has been, I mean, coming out lately and today, like the stuff we just talked about, is really, really exciting. The book is the show with live Blu-ray commentary. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Feast for Crows right now. I love both the show and the books. Also, for people that do sign up on Patreon, I do have the first 3 audiobooks, and I have the Dunk and Egg audiobooks. When you do sign up for Patreon, you do get access to those. So I know some of you already have them and whatnot, but you guys let me know, any patrons that don't have them, or if anyone is really, really interested in them, just let me know. I love exposing people to the Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones, and I love me some Roy Dotrice. So. Yeah, I think Child of Ice and Fire, the dire wolves is definitely a contention point. Something that is something that a lot of people are upset about, and I totally get it. I want more dire wolves. I'm House Stark. Come on, I'm from the north. I think that we need to get more dire wolves, and I certainly think that we will. I think that's definitely going to happen. I'm getting ahead of myself, says Robar. A Song of Ice and Fire animated series true to the book. I'd pay huge bucks for that. I mean, give me anything A Song of Ice and Fire. If I was rich, I'd just buy everything A Song of Ice and Fire, but I'm not. So I'll wait for anything done by Miguel Sapochnik. So I'm good. It's going to look insane. I mean, he's going to be directing episodes 3 and 5, which is an indication, I think, the Battle of Winterfell in episode 3 and the Battle of King's Landing in episode 5. I mean, come on. He also has done amazing work on Breaking Bad and True Detective. I mean, I'm sure all of you know what those shows are, but still. I'm super excited. Alan Taylor is also, I can't remember all the directors for season 8, but Alan Taylor was the one that directed Baylor, I believe, in Game of Thrones season 1. I'm just going to knock on wood on that one in case I'm incorrect. He's coming back, so he's probably going to be doing some sort of earlier episode in the season. I can't remember if it was episode 1. But yeah, the fact that we got Miguel back, and then Dan and Dave are directing the final episode, and that's going to be really interesting. Some people are highly critical of that, but it's their telling of their story on TV, not their story because it's George R. R. Martin's story, but this is their medium. So I think I think the major stuff is going to happen in the first 5 episodes, and then we're going to kind of see like the aftermath, whatnot. Anyways, and that's mainly how they've set up the show, anyways. But certainly the last season can kind of change the format. And episode 6 could be, there still could be some big battles and whatnot going on in that one. But I think that Alan Taylor, I thought he was Wesley. David Nutter is also directing. I knew that. Game of Thrones claymation. I don't know if they'd be down for that, but George R. R. Martin was offered an animated John Danny spinoff, but I heard he turned it down. I mean, you know how many things he probably gets pitched? I can't even imagine. Yeah, I also want Ice Spiders. And D&D are doing a lot of writing on the final season. I know that has a lot of people worried, but I'm not worried. I think it's going to be absolutely batshit awesome. So I think what we should do is let's have a little bit more of a debate. Let's take let's do a Q&A session, and then let's talk about what I'm going to be covering for all of you at DragonCon, because there is going to be some Song of Ice and Fire panels. Pilu and Theon are doing a panel. I kind of want to talk about that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting last year we didn't get any Thrones interviews. Lena Headey did cancel. She didn't end up coming to DragonCon, but Theon Greyjoy, Alfie Allen, and Pilu, who plays Euron, or Pilu, sorry, will be at DragonCon, and I'm hopeful that we're going to get those interviews. We do have our press passes and media access to that, so fingers crossed, everyone, that we get those interviews. When Euron unveils the Ice Kraken, okay, that's some tinfoil. I've never heard that one before. David Nutter. Oh, so David Nutter's got a bunch of episodes. I don't think George is going to change the story, Keshik. No, not at all. J.R. Raleigh says anime series that follows the books. I don't think that's going to happen, J.R., but certainly they've been adding more art and whatnot into the books. So, I mean, the anniversary edition of Game of Thrones has amazing artwork within it. So there's that, and then there's the World of Ice and Fire. I mean, when we get the prequels and stuff like that too, we could possibly be getting some world books and stuff like that. So certainly, that is a possibility, and we know that we're at least getting one prequel. So that is something to look out for. Yeah, Jormungand. Miguel directed Battle of the Bastards Hardhome and my personal favorite episode, The Winds of Winter, the finale for season 6, episode 10, where Cersei lights up the Sept of Baelor. My favorite piece of music is in that opening as well. Oh my God, Light of the Seven, Ramin Djawadi. By the way, I'm going to see Ramin Djawadi in Houston less than a month from now, so I'm going to be doing some reporting on that as well. So I didn't know if a lot of you knew that, but I'm going to stay with Blaze Manga in Houston. We're going to go see. I think J.R. Raleigh is coming with us. We haven't discussed. We got to get some tickets. I know there's still some available, so we're going to that. Child of Ice and Fire says the World of Ice and Fire is dope. I love that book so much. There's so many things that I want him to expand on, like the Ifa Quevron and Yi Ti, even more like some of these areas that we do get more information on. But yeah. Light of the Seven is what you would call a masterpiece. I don't. When I first watched the episode that night, I must have listened to that piece for I don't know 2 hours straight, just like trying to associate my these emotions with those scenes, obviously, and then listening to it over, trying to find these like little parts that I might have missed within the show. Because when you listen to music in the show, there's other stuff going on too. So I try to listen to it and just try to look back at the scene and be like, wow, like this was just amazing. CC, I'm going to the Houston concert. I still haven't got tickets yet. I still got to figure that out. But Simon's birthday is literally the day before. Simon from Blaze Manga. So we're going. That's going to be his birthday present. David Nutter was responsible for the Red Wedding, Misa, Dance of Dragons, and Mother's Mirthes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's going to be so many. Game of Thrones Season 8, everyone, when it does get nominated for all the Emmys, it's going to sweep, okay? They're going to win like 10. They're going to have a record amount of awards. Trust me. Travis, I wouldn't give up my arm, my right arm, my left arm to go see the Game of Thrones concert, but I certainly would do something to go, and I am going. So, CC Stark, I believe I am going to come visit Dallas for a couple days. I gotta check out my schedule right now. DragonCon is the first thing. Once I get to Houston, I'm gonna figure out the Dallas schedule because I know some people want me to come visit, and I do want to come see some of the amazing people that I got to meet at Con of Thrones 2018. The Danny soundtracks are awesome in the show. I like all of them. So what do you all think? Do we want to get into the DragonCon schedule and kind of talk about some of the stuff that I'm going to be covering at DragonCon for the Azor Hype channel? Because remember, I am launching a second channel just for the Marvel stuff. I want to keep this channel Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. So I actually unsubscribed from a Game of Thrones YouTuber who said Light of the Seven was trash. Rightfully so. I would too. Are you kidding me? That's nuts. They are nuts if they don't like that. That is an actual masterpiece. Do we want to do DragonCon schedule, talk about some of the panels that are going to be going on, or do we want to open it up for a Q&A and kind of just talk about Season 8? I'm going to let all of you decide in chat. If you want DragonCon schedule, put a heart. If you want Q&A, put fire emoji. So I'm going to let all you decide in chat for a second. I'm going to pull up the DragonCon schedule just in case you guys do want me to cover that, but I will give you the option. Q&A right now, Q&A Season 8, or we'll do DragonCon schedule. So we got one. So we got a couple for DragonCon schedule, and we got, oh, there's some for Season 8. DragonCon schedule. Okay, we're Q&A season. Ocho. Ooh, Season 8 is winning. Okay, it looks like you guys want me to do a Season 8 Q&A. We'll end it with the DragonCon schedule, a short one. I'll kind of talk about what I'm doing. But, oh, damn. We got a donation. You know, what's Danish kroner? Thank you so much. I believe it's the Danish kroner. I saw a good video about Tywin over the Secrets of the Citadel. It's possible that Gendry may be the son of Tywin's illegitimate daughter. Ooh, yeah. You know, Gemma is always coming up with so many amazing ideas. That's a little bit tinfoily for me, but you know, Gemma's on point with a lot of her stuff. Thank you so much for the donation. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, we're gonna do a Season 8 Q&A, and then we'll go into the DragonCon. We'll end it with, we'll do both. We'll do Season 8 Q&A first for about the next 15 minutes or so, and then we'll finish off with the DragonCon schedule. Do I believe the Season 8 leaks, Keshig? They are shit. That's all I will say about that. Martin, George R. R. Martin to the imaginary wall of hype. I don't have a wall of hype right now, so I can't. Or sorry, no, not Martin. Niels Rain and Morley and everybody that donated. I know I don't have my wall of hype on this trip, but thank you so much for the donations. Gemma is not feeling well today. She's got a stomach bug. So we will be doing our podcast next week. Where will the show take Euron's become a god agenda from the Forsaken chapter? Will be resurrected, summon a Kraken, bond with the Night King. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get pretty much any of that, Robar. I think that it's going to be Mostly him trying to assert his power in King's Landing. We could certainly see a betrayal maybe of Cersei, but I think it's going to be mostly self-serving Euron. I don't think there's going to be any kind of like mystical, magical stuff going on. Maybe they do a bigger reveal, or when he goes over, because he's got to go pick up the Golden Company for Cersei over in Essos. So there could be something that he, along the way, maybe he goes and grabs. I don't know if we're going to see Valyrian steel armor or Dragonmine or anything like that. Chances are very small we see that. So no Krakens in the show. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think he's going to create some sort of conflict and try to, wiggle his way into some more power. Hey, welcome, Martin Svadros. Welcome to the chat. Thank you so much for joining. Gemma needs to see a maester. Nah, she's cool. She just needs to hang out. Original David Adams. Have there any outtakes from season 7 been released? I don't know. Can you clarify that, Bunny Stursey? Captain Euron Sparrow, God of Hot Topic. Oh God, yeah. I am more optimistic than in season 8. He may cut out Yara's tongue or something like that. He's going to do something severe, but you got to think that some of the stuff that they've shown in the Forsaken chapter. I mean, HBO pushes the envelope, but I don't know if they're going to cut the tongue out of a pregnant woman and put her, like on a prow of a ship. So, well, nail her, yeah. So I don't know about that. Robar says, will Cersei's baby be born alive? Miscarriage, dragon deformity? I don't think she's going to have the baby. I think we're seeing this ice and fire, death and life thing. Daenerys is going to have her baby. Cersei is not. This is going to lead Cersei more down the path of madness in comparison to what happened with the Mad King Aerys. And I think that Jaime's going to have to, like, history is repeating itself essentially again. The Ouroboros effect, the circular nature of A Song of Ice and Fire in Game of Thrones. That's kind of where we're going with that. Euron is he's dying 1,000%. He's dying. Definitely. There's no doubt about that. Oh, we got Monica Lopez, who donated $10 to PayPal, the link in the PayPal. We do have a new link that I set up, everyone. If you do want to do one-time donations, the Super Chat does take, YouTube does take about 20 to 30% of the money you donate in Super Chat. So I do have the GoFundMe, the Patreon where you can donate, and the PayPal one-time donation thing in this. And Monica Lopez. Let's show, as a Monica Lopez, I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing that properly. Monica Lopez donated $10 US. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate that. Let's show some love to Monica in the chat. Really, really appreciate that, Monica. Do you believe Cersei is pregnant? I do. I do believe that she is pregnant. Theon to become a new Grey King type of character? I think he's going to be more like Torgon the Latecomer. If you look in this, the World of Ice and Fire, and you look at how the Kingsmoot happened in the books, Theon wasn't actually there at the Kingsmoot in the books. So I think that Theon is going to be the king of the Iron Islands at some point, whether Yara Asha survives. I always mix up the names because they changed her name. I always try to say Asha, but for the show it's Yara. I do think that she may lose her ability to speak and communicate in certain ways, and Theon can't reproduce. So Yara can reproduce, Theon can speak. That kind of works out. Misty says, I'm mailing a bottle of rum tomorrow to you and Aziz in Atlanta. Thank you so much for that. That's going to be fun. Not that we need more shenanigans to go down at DragonCon, but we really appreciate that. Jordy Jedi, John, can you repost the question by Jordy Jedi? I'm trying to keep up with all of you in chat, but you're all so hype right now. I can't. So, pregnant with a wine baby? Damn. Jormungand, let's see. Let's scroll up Jormungand. Bronn went with Jaime, right? No way he stays in King's Landing with that crazy bee. Yeah, I think that Bronn is going to go to the north, and Tyrion's with Jon and Daenerys. I think Bronn's going to leave. But Bronn marches to the beat of his own drum. I don't necessarily know if he would take the money for. I mean, he certainly could take a castle from Cersei, but we'll see. He could be off drink. Maybe he's not going to have a huge impact in season 8. He's one of the characters that kind of doesn't get a big storyline, but he's a fan favorite. So, Edward Martin says, "Is the Yellow Faces going to play a key role in season 8?" Yeah, I think we're going to see it, but not as much as we are in the books. I think that Bran's going to go there. I think there's going to be some more Children of the Forest there that are in the Weirwood net. I think that Bran's going to understand that he's the last green seer. So that's going to be really important. He's going to have to connect himself to the WeirNet. Scott McCoy, do we see Lynn Corbray and Lady Forlorn in the show? No. Does Barrack have Dawn? No, Scott. Sorry about that, my man. When Brian and Samuel tell John about his parents, he'll order them to keep it a secret. I don't know about that. I think that, you know, it might happen out in the open. And not everyone can keep secrets. So, I mean, John is the heir to the Iron Throne. That can't be kept a secret, I don't think, Funny Stursey. I just don't think that's going to happen. If Arya was the wave, she would have already been a Nymeria snack. Yeah, Arya is not the wave. Let's get that out of the way. George isn't even in the chat trolling with his $2 donations saying that Arya is the wave. Arya is not the wave. Trust me. Seriously, on the show, Dany is pregnant and Cersei is not. Cersei wants to be pregnant because she's still afraid of the prophecy. Correct, Misty. Great point. She's definitely going to have a miscarriage. If Daenerys marries Jon, or she just dies. If Daenerys marries Jon, it's kind of messy in terms of her going back on what she said about not keeping it in the fam, her book storyline. Yeah, Mackenzie, it's definitely going to be crazy, but it's going down. They're going to get married. They're not going to have a bastard child. I mean, this is not going to happen. Could Jon be Nisa, gender role by a reversal by George R. R. Martin? Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think that basically this, in short, I could go off on this theory that I've been working on, but in short, Jon is going to be in the same position as Ned Stark with a motherless child, and he will have understood the exact sacrifice that Ned had to make. I mean, think about it. How bittersweet is that? Jon loses his second love, but he has something to live for, right? He's like, don't bring me back. I don't want to be brought back. Like, I mean, look at what happened. But Benjen always talked. We got to look back in the first season. Like, Jon was so ready to go to the wall, right, and sacrifice all this stuff, and then Benjen's like, hey, you got something to live for, man. So I think that's kind of the bittersweet thing, is that he's going to be in the same position as Ned, right? A motherless child. The cycle repeats itself again. That wheel is not broken, but the bigger wheel is broken, the wheel of the White Walkers and the Iron Throne. I don't know. I could be wrong. What is JR saying? George sends his regards. Get that out of chat. I'm so tempted to time you out just for that. Jon and Dany die in the Battle of the Dawn and abdicate to Gendry and Sansa. Replace Gendry with Tyrion. And that would very much mirror what George is trying to pull from the War of the Roses. Tyrion and Sansa. I don't see Sansa ending up with anybody else but Tyrion. I really can't see Jon surviving. Honestly, I see him surviving. When George R. R. Martin spoke last week in Redwood City, John Picasso asked him, we're not going to see the story of these other characters, are we? In the prequels, he's like, and then George R. R. Martin said, no, we aren't going to see the continuation of the adventures of Jon Snow, Arya, or Tyrion. And in the original outline, Jon Snow, Arya, Tyrion, Daenerys, and Bran are the 5 surviving characters. So let that sink in a little bit. I'm not sure if it was a slip by George, but there's part of me believes that it's going to be Jon, Tyrion, Arya, Theon, Brienne, Samwell, Sansa. Those are kind of the main 7, I guess, that survived the story. Maybe Davos. Just off the top of my head, those are kind of the cripples, bastards, and broken things. If we're going with that sort of theme, that's kind of how I think it's going to go down. Throw me to the wolves and we'll come back with the super PAC. Dude, come on now. Is Jon dead and animated or alive? He's got ice and fire blood. He is. I know that Barrack was brought back in the show, and we don't have Lady Stoneheart. Jon is completely unique. He is ice and fire. Okay, he's not a fire white. Let's get that out of the way, man. That triggers me. I could be wrong though. Like I am wrong quite a bit. So. Peter Baelish will return. False. Daenerys, not Sansa, is in the outline. Sorry, I said Daenerys, Jon Snow, Tyrion, Bran, And so Jon Snow, Daenerys, Tyrion, Bran, and Arya. That's right. And Sansa was, I believe, the sixth. I think she was like peripheral, like a maybe. Christy of Old Stone, don't talk crazy about Arya. Will we see Sansa warg into a direwolf? We will not. Hey, we have Dan. By the way, everyone, I would like us to show some love in the chat to Dan Carroll. He is a very, very hardworking individual. He is the media relations person for DragonCon. So Dan is a super nerd like all of us. He loves the Game of Thrones fandom. I can't wait to meet Dan. He's a huge reason why we're able to do DragonCon at all, get those press passes. So everyone in the chat, before we move on, hype and love, fire and heart emojis for Dan Carroll in the chat, man. Dan is awesome. Azor Hype question: where is Tarth? Which kingdom? The mountain turns white. The mountain is white already. Is it possible that Jon gives Dany the kiss of life? Whoa, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't think there's going to be any more kisses of life. It's possible that it might be Sandor, like Beric does it for Sandor. A live stream without 3 Kyle triggers is considered a dull affair. Yeah, I usually get triggered. A lot of people believe Dany is already resurrected. Yeah, I mean the funeral pyre, right? I mean, look at the symbolism there. So, yeah, that's totally a thing that's possible as well. Child of Ice and Fire, do you realize that Dany is Ice and Fire too, Kyle? Mm-hmm. But I mean, Dany has death written all over her, I think. I don't know. It's just a personal gut feeling. I could see maybe Beric reviving Sandor, maybe. I don't know. But like Jon say, do not bring me back. And I mean, being brought back a second time and like then like truly being Azor Ahai. Because Jon is our best Azor Ahai candidate other than Dany, right? And I mean, people were having Azor Ahai moments because becoming Azor Ahai is actually a transformational moment. It's not necessarily like physical, it's metaphorical. So I don't know. Dany's baby is Ice and Fire. A share plus net equals Kyle. Get that out of here, John St. Baptiste. In the books, it would be so romantic if Lady Stoneheart gave her kiss of light to Jon. I think that's actually where they're going with it, to be honest, Robar. Thus becoming Jon's mother this way, the redemption arc. Yeah, I actually think of that. That's why, George spoke about how he wanted Lady Stoneheart to be included in the show. So that's one of the things that he was kind of upset about. Liv, Shady Tyrell, Liv, Bran, Sam, Sansa, Davos, Gendry, Illyria Sand. Illyria's dead. Unfortunately, Shady Tyrell. But I mean, you talking in the books? I don't know. Why don't people talk about Bran so much? He's supposed to be the defense for the realms of men. They better not just F off his story. Yeah. Bran is kind of got like his own separate thing going on. His story is so unique. And I think that I really hope that there isn't a twist that involves some sort of time loop. I'm actually really worried about that. But George kind of talked about how Bran was the hardest character to write at Redwood City. And he did say that you can't screw up magic, otherwise it screws up your whole story. So I am quite optimistic that he is going to get the Bran stuff right. I think we're going to be blown away by it. I think that that's the next twist, is that it's with Bran. Bran is, yeah, key to something very major. Dany is Blackwood Targaryen, where Jon is Stark Targ. Child of Ice and Fire. And thank you for joining, Child of Ice and Fire. I haven't seen you too much in the chat before, but we love having new people in the chat. Illyria did die, Shady Tyrell. Sorry about that. I had to remind you. Yeah, I mean, I ate a sock live on air for there being no Lady Stoneheart. I bet that it would happen, and it didn't, so. It was all the dream would eat it. Yeah, that's definitely not happening. The final twists have to be with Bran. I mean, the final twist, are probably going to be with John, Daenerys, and Dan. But I mean, like Dan and Dave spoke about the three twists. Hodor, hold the door was one of them. Then was the burning of Shireen was one of them. The last one has to be more intense than both of those put together, in my opinion. So, Dan, I'm going to the Game of Thrones concert in Houston. I'm going to visit Blaze Meg. I'm going on September 17th. That's going to be really fun. I'm really excited for that. I want to see Light of the Seven live. I mean, that's my favorite piece for sure. And then I think that, my second favorite one is when Jon is leaving the Night's Watch. That's one of my favorite ones. My Watch has Ended, I think it's called. That one's one of my favorites. So what I think we're going to do is we've talked quite a bit about Season 8. I want to get into the DragonCon schedule, everyone. And like I said, I don't figure out I'm not sure if we got approved for Alfie Allen and Pilu yet. I did apply to interview both of them. And like I said, I would try my very best to try to get that content for the channel. But I want to talk about some of the panels that were actually going on at DragonCon. So I got the schedule here. And I'm just going to, on Friday, I'm going to be going to this panel, depending on what my interview schedule is like. And it says, Sons of the Dragon, A Song of Ice and Fire novella. It's going to be at the Marriott for 1 hour. Sons of the Dragon is George R. R. Martin's latest entry in the Song of Ice and Fire series. This panel will explore the events of the story and what we learn about Westeros' favorite family. So the panelists are Jennifer Liang, Andrew Tedeschi, and Tara Lynn, who puts on the Song of Ice and Fire Con in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm actually going to be meeting up with her on Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So there's one panel on Friday about the Sons of the Dragon at DragonCon. I'm going to go check that out. Then we're going to move to Saturday. So that's the only Ice and Fire Game of Thrones panel on Friday. Then there's one, I believe it's at 6 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. There must always be a Stark at DragonCon. And this one is Winter is Coming, So is the Stark's Revenge. The show and the book inclusive discussion will cover the history and family of our best series and what to expect from our northern neighbors. So this one is going to focus on the northern storyline. The other one is going to focus more on the Targaryens. And this one is Aileron Kong Terralyn, also from Ice and Fire Con. And that's going to be really awesome. Chloe Ketchum from Drunk, A Song of Ice and Fire. And A Girl's Gone Canon is going to be there. So we're gonna meet up with her and try to get something as well. Really, really excited about that. So that's gonna be happening on Saturday. And this is what I'm most excited for, everyone. The North Remembers How to Party is going to be happening at the Hilton Grand East Saturday at 10 p.m. for 4 hours. Join us for the High Fantasy Track's very first Game of Thrones party featuring music, dancing, costumes, and absolutely no beheadings. And there's Tara Lynn from Ice and Fire Con, who's going to be there again. And then speaker Da Vinci, he's a DJ. And Da Vinci is a professional Jacksonville DJ born into the UK. High energy entertainment. Da Vinci gets the crowd involved by creating interactions throughout the show. So be on your toes for a night to remember. So he did the DragonCon Zombie Prom in 2017. So I'm going to be going to that party. And I'm actually thinking about buying a GoPro and wearing it and going to some of these events so you guys can kind of experience what I'm experiencing. I'm definitely going to be bringing my phone and my camera with me, but I'm kind of exploring other options as how to give you guys some DragonCon content. So really, really, really excited about hitting that party up. That's going to be really fun. There's going to be a cosplay and costume contest. I don't know if I'm going to sign up for that yet, but I am thinking about getting a special shirt made. Lancel, what a dumb name. That's one of the shirts I want to get made, or get the breastplate stretcher. I'm thinking about getting a couple shirts made for that party. But that's going to be really fun. We are attending that one. I'm definitely going to be getting some content from that one. I know that Ashaya is going to be going to that. Aziz, Emmett Booth, who does a podcast with Brendan Beefish. He's actually dating Chloe, who does Girls Gone Canon. There's going to be some other amazing people within the Song of Ice and Fire community that we're going to meet up with. So really, really excited about that party. That's going on Saturday, everyone. I might even do like a little bit of a live stream from that one. That's on Saturday. On Sunday, there is a whole lot of Thrones panels. There's Religion and High Fantasy is going to be going on. And then there's a Game of Thrones panel. It says, Game of Thrones, a visit from House Greyjoy. Spend some time with the actors portraying the reavers of the Iron Islands and learn the secrets of the Drowned God, Pilu Aspect, and Alfie Allen. So I'm going to be 100% filming that one, guys, and putting that up on the channel. I definitely want to see what Pilu and Alfie Allen have to say about House Greyjoy, and hopefully we might be able to get a question in. Maybe they'll do a Q&A period. I will be filming that one with the DSLR camera. That's going to be awesome. And then Looney Theories, that's going to be another cool one, another Game of Thrones panel. And it says, what's better than a theory? A Looney Theory, of course. Join us for the wild, semi-plausible speculation about both the books and the show. Mature audience is only Tara Lynn, additional panelist Jennifer Liang. She's going to be moderating that one. So that's so far 5 panels so far. And then there's one on Monday, too. White Walkers, Wargs, and Weirwoods. I believe Chloe, no, it's Ashley Dawn, Rebecca Fant, and Tara Lynn from Ice and FireCon who puts that on. Join us to explore Westeros' ancient magical forces, share thoughts on how they may impact the final season in the book. So a lot of Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire panels are going down at Con of Thrones. I wasn't sure. We didn't get to check out any of them last year, if there were any. So I'm really excited to be able to share some of Song of Ice and Fire content with you guys and Game of Thrones content with you guys from DragonCon. Like last year, they had Lena Headey. She couldn't come, but we know that this year they are getting the Greyjoy, so that's really exciting. And most of you know I am going to be trying to market and push my Marvel channel a little bit at DragonCon as well, because we are launching it next week. But I'm really excited to be going to DragonCon and hopefully, like I said, be getting interviews from Alfie and Pilu. We'll see. If not, we're definitely going to be attending their panels and whatnot and bringing you guys some Ice and FireCon. We're going to interview cosplayers. We're going to try to get some Game of Thrones Season 8 predictions. Going to walk around with the camera and a microphone and try to interview some of the people in the Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones fandoms and get some predictions, like, maybe like 20 or 30 people, maybe even more. Maybe we get 100. I don't know. But we're going to try our best to get as many interviews with cosplayers and people who love a Game of Thrones and a Song of Ice and Fire. So yeah, it's a really exciting time, everyone. I'm really excited for DragonCon. Had an absolute blast at Worldcon. Still got some stuff coming for you on the channel for that. But yeah, Game of Thrones Season 8, it looks like it's going to be delayed, which is okay, I guess. I'm not super stoked about it. I mean, I want it right away because I'm a super nerd and I love Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire. But yeah, DragonCon is next week, and I super can't wait to be bringing you guys coverage of that. There's going to be more DragonCon coverage, not just a Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones coverage. We're going to be getting as much as we can for you guys. Like I said, there's a lot of people that can't go to these events, whether it's because of financial reasons or they can't travel or whatever. And we're really excited to bring you some DragonCon coverage from Atlanta. Also, we are going to be having another podcast next week. I'm going to coordinate with Gemma. She wasn't feeling well this weekend, so I apologize that we didn't have episode number 28 of the Citadel of Hype podcast, but we are going to have it next week. I'm going to coordinate with Gemma. She's going to let me know when she's feeling better, and then that day or the next day we're going to schedule a podcast for you. And that one's actually we're going to be covering George R. R. Martin. We're going to be talking all the interviews that George has done, kind of try to pull some information about what he said about Season 8, about Winds of Winter, and we're going to have a discussion about George R. R. Martin, his style of writing, why the Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones is so great. And that's going to be our next topic for the podcast. If you did enjoy this live stream, make sure you smash that like button. We have 4 dislikes, but we don't care about that. We got 84 people watching right now. So if you like this video, smash that like button. Of course, if you aren't subscribed to the channel and you want to see more live streams, more theory videos, more content, you can subscribe and get notifications for all the awesome content that will be coming on the channel. Also, if you do want to support the channel, we have Patreon, where I do behind-the-scenes access at these events, special little stuff for people that support the channel and donate to the channel monetarily. And I really excited to be doing some special stuff from DragonCon for Patreon. Of course, if you do want to support the channel, there's other ways as well, PayPal and the GoFundMe. You absolutely don't have to. You can support the channel other ways, but if you do want to support the channel and help out and help us continue to go to all these amazing events, you can find all that in the description of this video, Patreon, all that. And don't be shy. Reach out to me on Twitter, Facebook. Say hi. You have an awesome theory. Let me know about that. You can reach out to me that way. And if you do want to enter the giveaway for the signed copy of Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, you can reach out to me at Azor Hype Media. It's in the description of this video. The way you can enter is send me your best Game of Thrones Season 8 theory and tell me why A Song of Ice and Fire, tell me what A Song of Ice and Fire in Game of Thrones means to you. I'm going to try to set a specific rule. I don't want to be just setting like one paragraph, short stuff. I want to give this away to someone that is truly passionate about A Song of Ice and Fire and a Game of Thrones. So make sure you give me 3 or 4 paragraphs. I want to be super badass because I'm not just giving this away to anyone. This is going to be given away to someone who really, really wants it. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Me in Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much, Maya and Adam, for letting me do this here. And I'm going to see you all in Atlanta. Hype and